You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the farce revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. This is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, from close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, healing all the hearts, ignited now in you and me. The secret is wherever, the secret is whenever, the secret is together we are.
Good morning, Centers for Spiritual Living in St. George, Utah. We are so glad that you are here with us today. Thank you. We're going to start with we're an open and loving and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our vision is a world that works for everyone. Today's service team, we have Bill Smith in the back doing all of the tech stuff, which I am so grateful for. I am your host, Star Starrett. I'm a Science of Mind practitioner. Alan Stanley is our wonderful musician today, and Mary Klein, another practitioner, is going to be giving our invocation. And our reading is by Gwen Hadley, and she always has such wonderful, marvelous things to share. And our guest speaker today is Jeffon Seeley, and I'm so happy to have you back in our midst again, Jeffon. Okay, here we go. Alan Stanley, take it away.
Thank you, Star. Hello, everybody. We're going to start this off and sing it a little bit, and then Mary's going to come in and offer the invocation. So you can sing along, and we'll get in a nice little mood. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of spirits in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place.
Nice deep breath in if you're comfortable. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And know deeply that the divine mind is in all things, everywhere, present and constantly creating anew. Know that the creative mind knows only perfection. I, being a creation of the divine, am perfect, whole, and complete. My body and mind is an expression of the divine, therefore is perfect right here and right now. Today, I uncover my curiosity as a superpower in creating my own life. Nothing stands in the way of the perfection of spirit as I move forward on this road of discovery. God is at my deepest core, and I affirm divine curiosity, inquiry, exploration, and peace, seeing the truth that the divine is in all and through all, and so it is.
So it is. Thank you, Mary. I'll make sure this microphone's working. Surely presence of joy is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of joy is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Now I'd like to welcome Gwen Hadley to offer our reading today. Hello, Gwen.
Good morning, Alan. Morning, everyone. So, as we continue on the subject of curiosity, what it means to be curious. Curiosity is the power that comes from being, as Ernest Holmes said, open at the top and ask life-changing questions. What is mine to do? What does it mean to create a world that works for everyone? Well, I found a blog on the internet. The blog was entitled, I believe, The Age of Awareness. And it was written by a young couple, Jaleel and Nicole. And what they talked about is 6 remarkable traits of truly curious people and how a little bit of curiosity can make all the difference. So they wrote this in 2021, and they begin with, it's no secret that the times are rapidly changing. When the pandemic hit, we've seen everyone transition their lives into something that they'd never done before. But do you know who managed to stand out from all the rest? Curious people. It is an invaluable trait to have. Imagine someone who not only has the passion to do great work, but also has the burning desire to push themselves even further to greater challenges. That's why, in the words of Anna Starkey, she says, in a complex world, we need curious people more than ever. But how do we distinguish them from the unremarkable regular people? Fortunately, curiosity and curious people share many traits in common. Here are 6 to get you started. Number 1, they love to ask questions. One of the most easily recognizable traits is their ability to constantly ask questions. When it comes down to it, curious people are never truly satisfied. They're always wanting to fill up their knowledge gap, looking for answers. In conversation, you'll spot them asking questions like a toddler who's just seen the world for the first time. Number 2, they give all their attention. While children are easily distracted with the next shiny thing, curious people know how to stay laser focused on whatever they're currently doing. They believe it's the best way to get things done, so they roll their sleeves up and get to work. Number 3, they aren't fazed by rejection. Despite exerting their time, energy, and attention, they aren't necessarily concerned about being rejected. On the contrary, it's what drives curious people. For them, every rejection is like a step closer to reaching the finish line. So they just keep going. While they might want to reach the finish line, it's only because they enjoy the process so much. They're much more interested in doing it all over again. That's why you'll see all of them excited over the next big thing. Number 4, they don't mind being wrong. If they aren't fazed by rejection, surely then they're worried about being wrong? No, not that either. In fact, curious people eat their mistakes for breakfast, which is just a cheeky way of saying that they don't mind admitting their mistakes to everyone. They recognize it's all part of the learning process. Number 5, they're not judgmental. Curious people know they aren't perfect. More than anything else, curious people practice compassion. That's what makes them non-judgmental. They're not harsh on anyone because they know that others are just like them. So they treat people like how they want to be treated. They strongly believe that how they talk to others depends largely on how they talk to themselves. Because of this, it makes it easy for them to do this last connection. They easily form connections. We gravitate towards curious people, sometimes even wishing we had their same level of command in a room. Not because they're doing anything particularly spectacular to capture your attention. More importantly, they're not interested in doing mind games. In general, they're just interested in talking and invested in us. That's why we resonate so much. Have you ever met someone and within 5 minutes you feel like you've known them your whole life? Chances are they were operating on a high level of curiosity. As a result, you felt closer to them, and they made you feel like you mattered. Curious people enjoy meeting and learning about people. They love interacting with them, learning about their culture and their experiences. In turn, this puts people at ease around them. Dale Carnegie once wrote, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So I ask you, how many curious people do you know? And are you curious? I'm going to leave you with a quote from our wonderful Stephen Hawking. Remember to look up at the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of whatever you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious. Namaste, my friends.
Namaste, Gwen. That's great. You got my curiosity up.
Go ahead.
So, you know what this hat means. It's time to kick it up a notch. Compliments of Lisa Ferraro. Sing along and smile. Everybody's got a smile for the world. Everybody's got a smile for the world. You gotta let it shine brightly, 'cause that's what it's for. Ain't no reason to cry when your life has got you down. Ain't no sense in crying when your life has got you down. Just put a smile on your face, you're gonna turn your world around. Now when you feel like something's missing in your day-to-day, when you feel like something's missing from your day-to-day, yeah, just put a smile on your face, you're gonna chase your blues away. Everybody's got a smile for the world. Everybody's got a smile for the world. You got 'cause that's what it's for. Hey, everybody's got a smile for the world. Everybody's got a smile for the world. You gotta let it shine brightly now, 'cause that's what it's for. Hey, love you all. Well, hello, Jeffon.
Hello, Alan.
I guess
I was there
it's your
smiling,
turn.
and all of a sudden I'm here.
Yeah, well, welcome.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
Okay.
all the music, and it's really fascinating how skillful an individual has to be to play the guitar and sing simultaneously. I've been trying to do that for quite some time, and maybe a little bit more practice.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. Of course. Hello, everybody. I hope that you are well wherever you happen to be on this glorious, glorious planet of ours. I know we are all going through a variety of unique situations and circumstances. In this time that we have to spend together today, it is my hope that I might be able to share something with you that can help you continue to recognize the uniqueness of who and what you are, the power that exists within you, and how you can use that power to help create a brighter, not only tomorrow, but most importantly, today. The topic, the theme, the direction that we'll be moving is curiosity as a superpower, and then spinning into the world being an oyster, which I have a lot to say about that. But before I dive into it, something that I've been thinking about all morning, in all these opportunities I have to speak, all these opportunities that all of us have to communicate or to dive deeper into new thought, into spirituality, into the things that vibrate with our spirit and our soul. And I'm thinking about, what is that core message? The one thing that we could always say every single week that could be very short and concise, that encompasses everything that we spend many different books trying to write about, that we fill our notebooks with, trying to discover that one little thought that reminds us of who and what we are. And as I was asking myself this, it comes down to something extremely simple. It seems basic, as a matter of fact. And that is, within it all, there is one. This infinite universe that exists, that we are all a part of, that has been in creation since the beginning of time, that is of the essence of time, that is the space in which all creation occurs, is interconnected. There is no separation between ourselves, the people who live across the street from us, the individuals on the other side of the planet, or the people who have walked this planet 100,000 years ago. There is no disconnection with the elements that are up above in the form of stars at this very moment of now. There was no disconnection from who we believe ourselves to be and our highest self, our God self. This is the essence of it all. And for me, I continue to reach for books. I continue to listen to individuals express their ideas or how they interpret this planet, this time, this moment that we are in. And if I can just remember that I am the I am, that we are all that is, and we are connected to the one that enables it all to be, then why would I ever allow a limiting belief to enter into my consciousness? Why would I fail to recognize the power, the importance, the inherent worth of somebody who I share this planet with? Why would I overlook the fact that there are individuals who are living in this day, age, and time who are going through extremely difficult circumstances, and perhaps I can be an individual who might lighten the burden of another person? I mean, how can I remember this? How can you remember this? And that's something that I would like you just to think about. What would happen if you were never able to read another book, never ever able to hear another sermon, never able to go to another workshop or to dive deeper into these spiritual truths? What is that bare essence of it all? The foundational piece that you are we willing to explore that? So just sit with it. And perhaps one way to go about it is to see the power of curiosity. As Gwen was saying, to ask questions. Ask questions about this superpower that exists within us, that is enabling our atoms to exist, our cells to divide, our hearts to beat, our lungs to breathe, our blood to flow, our lives to continue to evolve and expand. Ask questions as to how that is operating within us without us even having to think about it. And that same energy and essence, that superpower that is enabling us to be, is that which enables the glorious sun to shine down upon us, the rain to fall from the sky, the rivers to flow, the oceans to ebb, the trees to continue to blossom for some of us in different parts of the country. For other parts of the country, that might be a couple months down the line. But all of these things, and remaining curious about it all. I think about my experience and the power of curiosity, and how it's really been almost like a compass that perhaps subconsciously or at an unconscious level was directing me in the place where I would like to, maybe not where I would like to go, but where my highest self was seeking for me to explore, if that makes some sense. And I remember when I first stumbled upon this entire teaching of New Thought, of Science of Mind, of Ernest Holmes. As some of you are well aware, I grew up in Salt Lake City. When I was young, I went to the mormon church, my LDS church, I should say, with my grandma. And then when I was about 12, it just didn't align with me. And I was always trying to seek. I thought that I was reading between the lines of the Bible and other texts that were given to me by other individuals. But it didn't seem to make sense what people were telling me to believe based upon how I was interpreting that particular book. And I went to college in Seattle with my dad, and he would take me to hit the various Baptist church that he was a part of. And every once in a while, there would be a message of inspiration that would really stick with me, open that doorway in my own consciousness to begin to explore further. But still, it didn't really hit the mark. And so I just started looking for different books. And that's where I found a book that I would highly recommend, which is entitled The Way to the Kingdom by Joseph Brenner. And in that book, what he really expressed was what I internally was seeking. And this is where curiosity can take us. In this book, he talked about the power, the importance, the continuation of this concept that he called Christ consciousness. And when I started to explore that and look at it, it made sense, because it seemed to me that Jesus, that these enlightened mystics and individuals who have once walked this planet, they were no better nor worse than who I am in this moment of now. Instead, they are just simply different expressions of the essence of God projecting themselves in this moment or on this planet, which meant if they were brought to life by the very same essence that enables the earth to spin, and I am brought to life by that same essence, then I also have within me that which they had within them. There was no disconnection. There was no separation. And so this concept of the Christ consciousness made sense. And I started to ask myself, well, if this is the whole concept of Christ consciousness, then maybe instead of a man coming down from the heavens to help resurrect or bring this massive revolution in terms of human consciousness on this planet, instead of that person being a middleman or a middle woman or a middle person for this to happen, what if instead the rising of Christ is all of us being able to ascend in our own consciousness to recognize the Christ that is within ourselves, or the Buddha that is within ourselves, or the holy enlightened mystic that is within ourselves? Would that then mean that I am here in this moment, living this life, to help bring about this consciousness by way of how I am choosing to show up? So these were all the things that were popping into my mind when I was going through this evolution of my own experience back in early college, when I was like maybe 20, 21. And then I moved to Atlanta about 7, 8 years later. And I was thinking, I've been reading these books. I've taught myself how to meditate. I think I kind of have a grasp on it. There has to be a place where people gather together and talk about this. And I have this incredible tool it's like something that's a divine download. It's called Google. I just type in things in Google and information pops up. It's miraculous. I don't know if you've ever tried it, but I typed in spiritual communities in Atlanta, and the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta popped up, which is affiliated with CSL. And that's where I met one of my first mentors, David Alt. And that opened the doorway to recognizing that I can dive much deeper into it. And I would have never walked into that space if I didn't first lean into the curiosity that was knocking at the doorway of my heart, of my consciousness, of my mind, begging me, or at least asking me, inviting me to step into a higher realm within myself. And to the degree that I did that is the degree then to which I started to show up in the world differently. I started recognizing that I have gifts and things that I can begin to share with this planet. And as is the case for me, so it is true for you. As you lean into this path of curiosity, asking questions, what am I here to do? How can I share my gifts more? How can I bring my highest self into my community, into my place of worship, onto this planet itself? What can I begin to do? Just sit back, and that leads me to this question. And I love this picture of Zion. But the question is simply this. When you ask yourself this, what comes up? What gifts are seeking to emerge through you in this moment of now? Is there something that you've been putting off? Is there something that continues to pop up? Writing a book, sharing an expression, writing a song, going down the road and introducing yourself to this new neighbor in your community, or venturing into the caverns of your mind and heart and beginning to resolve those areas that you've been suppressing for many years? I mean, what are some things that you could begin to do? What are some gifts that you could begin to share? And how could you begin to honor that which you are more compassionately, with more respect, and I would dare say with this level of integrity? Because it seems that if we are not leaning into our highest potential, then that might be one of the greatest missings of the marks. I'm not going to say sin. That might be the greatest missing of the mark that we can do on this time on our planet, on this time while we are on this planet. Let me say that a little bit better. By not taking space and making time to look within ourselves and recognize the gifts that we are here to bring to this planet, the gifts that can only exist within ourselves in this very unique way. By not doing that, it seems as if we are disservicing our highest self. Now, there's some people out there who's like, well, that doesn't make sense. How could you actually dishonor, disservice, or not live with integrity if we are all connected by the one? And I would say I absolutely agree. Maybe there is nothing that we can do to miss the mark. Simply by virtue of living, we are always hitting the mark. So therefore, we are living without sin even when we think we are sinning, or when we think we are not living up to our highest potential. This going back to the very fabric that I began this conversation with, of being from and of the one. However, we also have to recognize a level of responsibility and accountability that we have in this time to use our energy in a way that might help to construct a world, a universe, an eternity that works for everything and everyone. This might need to be in an entirely different talk, but I think that it's important to understand that there is also an element of responsibility and accountability that is tied in with, at times, that bypass where we go back to, well, it's all one. I'm connected to the one, which I agree. But I also have to call out or encourage us to recognize that our energy always creates some type of effect. And that effect is dependent upon how we are choosing to use our thoughts, our choices, our emotions, and most importantly, perhaps, our actions. So, what gifts are seeking to emerge through you? Now, as we lean into this pathway of curiosity, there is this concept, and the focus of this week is the world is an oyster. And follow me for a moment as we explore this. I actually had to type in that to that handy dandy tool of Google and say, what does the world is an oyster or is your oyster? What does that actually mean? And the very top line, which that's where I often look. I mean, let's face it, a lot of us don't explore, page 3 and 4 of our Google searches. So I just looked for the very easy one that I could say, oh, well, that's what it means, I guess. What it referred to is this concept of there are unlimited opportunities for us to seize or to embrace as we move throughout this life. And it made me think there are infinite possibilities and infinite potential that all of us exude or exhibit moment by moment by moment, which means in this very moment, we could be a variety of things. In the infinite field of possibilities, it seems as if we focus on one, and that then assumes or consumes that which we will call our reality in that moment. And if there are infinite possibilities, then it would also seem that in the snap of a finger, we could assume, identify, connect to, help create, or bring about something entirely different. And I'm not just talking about, well, okay, I can create a new reality. I didn't work out. Now I'm starting to work out. No, I think in this scope of things, in this new thought teaching, it means that the change doesn't have to be gradual. It can be a transformative process similar to that of a tree blossoming from a seed. You can't squeeze the tree back into that seed. It is permanent in nature. And all of us, I would dare say, can expand or ascend in consciousness such that our previous self or our prior selves are unrecognizable. And that's where I think this whole concept of the world is an oyster, what that actually means. In the infinite realm of possibilities, in our infinite potential, what are we choosing to focus our time and energy on to help bring about? And does that align with who we believe we are? Does that support the planet that we are a part of? Does that support the future generations to come? And if time is not linear, does that also support the prior generations who existed on this planet before us? And as we think about an oyster, maybe the world is not our oyster, but instead, perhaps, an oyster is our teacher. And I also learned this as I was preparing for this talk. Do you know that oysters have been around for over 200 million years? Imagine if we could just grasp a small little fraction of the wisdom that these incredible organisms, animals, share with us. I mean, imagine if we could just capture a small portion. The oldest fossil, I believe, of an oyster is around 145 million years old, which means they've been around for quite some time. And obviously, there has to be a level of consciousness that exists within that organism for it to last for all that time on this planet that is continuously changing and evolving in unique ways. So imagine if we looked at oysters as a teacher. Imagine if we looked at everything as a teacher. The trees outside of our window, the rocks that we pick up. And if we could ask, what is the wisdom that you carry with you that I can embrace in my life that would help me show up and be that much more brighter of a light on this planet? Now, often when we talk about oysters, there are some people who are like, well, can we talk about eating? We're not going to talk about that right now. But people will talk about pearls. And as I was, I guess, going through what I've learned in the past, I immediately assumed, well, oysters create pearls, and pearls are brought about because of a grain of sand that somehow got within the shell and started to be this irritant internally, that then the oyster started to create these, I guess, started to share this level of, it doesn't sound nice, but mucus that then created this pearl that then we deem as valuable. And when I started thinking about then the one grain of sand, it brought me immediately back to, well, what is the wisdom that is contained within a grain of sand? And those of you who are in southern Utah, you know there is a lot of sand. I mean, when you pick up a handful of that red dirt and just look at it, thinking of all that has seen over the course of its entire existence, it may have once been underwater. It may have once been the peak of a mountain. It may have once been at the depths of an ocean. And looking at that and the wisdom contained within it, as we do that, it can reconnect us to the interconnectedness that we have with everything and the wisdom that we can find from all things and the knowledge that these organisms, and I would dare say these living elements, bring with them. It's not dead. It's there. There are elements contained within it. The same elements, as I mentioned, that are in the stars. It's contained throughout the universe. And we're looking at it in our hand. Now, see how we can go down these very steep stairs just by looking at something as simple as a grain of sand that we step on nearly every day and think nothing of. However, in my studies, and this is my Google University, as I was preparing for this, I was not disappointed, but surprised when I found out that it is not a grain of sand that in fact creates a pearl within an oyster. Instead, it is something that the oyster did unto itself. It could be a piece of food that is caught within the shell that creates a level of bacteria inside of the oyster shell, and then the oyster seeks to repair it and thus creating a pearl. So it seems then that the irritant that creates the pearls within an oyster is something that might be not self-inflicted, but brought about by the self. And it's seen as an irritant from the oyster's perspective, but it actually creates something that is quite miraculous in the form of a pearl. And there is an incredible saying by a Buddhist teacher whose name is Surya Das. And he said the pearl principle: if there is no inner irritation, there is no pearl. And this circles directly back to our lives. I would dare say that all of us, when we have really expanded or transformed throughout the course of our lives, a lot of those expansions or transformations have been brought about because of some level of inner irritation that was just knocking or itching or scratching at our spirit. For me, it was the continuous path of looking for something more in terms of the spirituality that I believe to be true. It was in the form of getting my ideas, and there was something that I wanted to share, and I would write it down on little notebooks that I had with me, and eventually putting it into a small book and then sharing it. And then there was something more that I wanted to share, and that inner irritation that was just begging me to do something more, and finding ways to put those thoughts that I would put into little notebooks into a spoken type of piece, and then finding places where I could go and slowly start speaking, and thus finding a pearl. And so I would encourage all of us, those things that are irritating, those things that seem to be nagging at our spirit, at our soul, at our innermost self, to don't look at it as something that you have to get rid of, to follow the path of least resistance. Instead, look at it as the very seed that can open the doorway for a new you, in terms of an evolution into the potential that exists within you. your infinite, unbound potential. And whatever that irritation is, ask, why are you here? And what are you trying to teach me? And then lean into that. Continue walking down that path. And I would dare say that you will be surprised what will emerge from you in terms of gifts, in terms of creation, in terms of creativity, by simply recognizing that that once irritation was a blessing that has been placed there for a reason, to help you recognize something within you that you otherwise would have never noticed. No irritation, no pearl. So as we bring our time to a close, and I could talk a lot, as you all are well aware, I would encourage us just to continue to lean into our own conscious expansion. There is not a moment where we say, well, the journey's over. I mean, hey, we made it. All the books, all the sermons, all the things and classes that we've been to. I mean, look, I'm highly enlightened. I don't even have to do anything anymore. I just wake up, go throughout my day. I mean, I'm there. It's not necessarily a journey. It's not necessarily a destination. It is the journey. And if our conscious expansion, if the Christ consciousness and beyond the Christ consciousness is infinite, then that means that our journey itself is infinite, which means there is no end to the expansion, to the inner ascension that exists within any of us. And if we continue to lean into curiosity, asking the questions, seeking to find a deeper meaning to the things that we are just seeing as very ordinary, if we lean into this curiosity, then I would dare say that we will come to the realization that the keys to unlock our greatest self are contained within our hands. I greatly appreciate you. I hope that there is something of value that you can gain from this very brief conversation that we've been able to have. And I do hope that you will continue your evolution and your conscious expansion, not only through curiosity, but simply by recognizing more of who and what you are. Thank you. And so it is. And as we bring this talk to a close, let us just simply do an affirmative prayer, and then we'll bring everybody back in here in a moment. So if you would close your eyes, taking a deep breath and sending it out. And this is going to be a very simple one. God is. God could be the infinite essence, the superpower, the universe, infinite intelligence. God is. We are. And I am. God is. We are. I am. We release this out into the infinite and say, and so it is. Thank you all very, very much. Have an incredible day.
Thank you so much, Jeffon. That was absolutely wonderful.
Thank you, Star.
I'm looking forward to us being on Zoom together. And I have an experience I would like to address that I had this morning. And it's hand in hand with what you said. So
fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Okay, let's see what we have next here. Okay, we have a community care circle that we offer. Anybody who is looking at this can have a chance to call our community care service at 435-893-6702. And we also have prayer request prayer at CSLSG.org, where you can request a prayer privately and it will be answered. We have a Zoom conversation at noon, which I was just speaking of, and I hope you can all make it because it will be a lively group. Jeffon is always right up there with knowing exactly what to say for us. Okay, there's a book club. Sue Fulmer at gmail.com is giving a wonderful, The Untethered Soul, I believe it is. And it is a beautiful, beautiful book. She's very, very happy with it. And we need a new someone who is willing to apply to join the core council. We have a seat open. Please ask somebody for directions if you're interested. And come and see the Joy Singers on February 25th at 7 p.m. at the Interfaith Harmony Day, Cousy Hall. So it'll be fun to see us sing. And now is the time to sign up for Inclusion Convo with Marina Anderson. And I believe also Bill Smith is involved with that. And details are in the newsletter and on the website. Your generous support is appreciated. You can give by mail, give with Zelle, give online. PayPal link is on our website at CSLSG.org. It's a donation page, or you could use the code to the right. Personally, I give with Zelle. I think it's absolutely a wonderful tool, and it works for me. Okay, upcoming Sundays are going to be with our senior minister, Reverend Joe Kovach, on February 26th, Living Curiosity Out Loud, and March 5th, Cultivating Authenticity. Everyone else is taken. Might as well be you, I guess. Okay, let's bring everybody back up. Okay, everybody, here we go. Something wonderful is happening through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, life.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. See you next week.